Chapter 3. The Trip Begins. When we got out of the car, I hefted my backpack onto my shoulders. The left side was a bit looser than the right, so I reached around to tighten the strap. I could feel the end of the strap flapping around, but I couldn't quite bend my elbow far enough to reach it. Eric tries to tighten his backpack, but why do you think he has trouble? "Let me help you with that," a voice called from behind. Matthias. "It's okay, I think I've got it," I said, trying to stretch my arm a bit further. "Here," Matthias said. With a quick tug, he tightened the strap. "Thanks," I mumbled as he jogged off toward the other campers gathered in the distance. Papa came around from the side of the car. "Isn't it great Matthias is here?" he asked. "You two used to have so much fun together. It'll be good for you to reconnect." I managed a half smile and a nod. He was right. Matthias and I used to hang out all the time, but we hadn't in the last year. I didn't even know why exactly. We didn't have a fight or anything. Matthias probably doesn't fight with anyone. That's the thing about Matthias. He's practically perfect. Or maybe he is perfect. He's super smart and all the teachers love him. He's good at sports. He's funny. He's good at everything, including camping, of course. Guess who got us back to camp after I lost the compass on our last trip? Matthias. And who lent me his extra set of dry clothes after I slipped and fell into the river? You got it. So how do you guys think that Eric feels about Matthias being on the trip? And how do you know? Papa and I joined the rest of the group. I waved at Lisa, one of my friends from school. I was glad to see she was there. There were only 12 of us, 10 kids, Papa, and one of the other campers' dads, Dr. Worden. "Okay, guys," Papa said. "We've mapped out a scenic hike to the campsite. Should be a lot of fun. Let's keep a good pace so we get there before lunchtime. Everybody ready to go?" We headed out. At first, we talked a little bit. There were a few kids I hadn't seen in a very long time. After a while, though, we all settled into a rhythm. I was glad for the quiet. Less chance I'll trip if I keep my eyes on the trail, I thought. Papa led the group in front, and Dr. Worden followed behind. As we walked, I tried to stay on the lookout for tree roots, but I also tried to appreciate the view. The Black Forest was beautiful. From some of the clearings along the side of the trail, the view stretched on for kilometers. At one point, I even saw a little yellow citral finch perched on a pine tree branch on the edge of the trail. Suddenly, the pack in front of me came to a halt. Papa pointed off into the left of the trail. In the distance were the farmhouses and cottages of the Black Forest Museum. One of the cottages, with its sloped, thatched roof, was framed perfectly by the trees. Maybe this weekend won't be so bad after all, I thought. Just then, a heavy, wet drop smacked my forehead. Rain. Everyone set their packs down and pulled out rain jackets. I looked through the big compartment of my pack, and then the smaller one. And then I looked through the big compartment again. I know it's in here, I thought. At least, I think it's in here. I was just starting to panic when I felt a tap on my shoulder. Papa handed me an extra jacket. It was gonna be a long weekend. Are you guys surprised that Eric forgot his rain jacket? Why or why not? Chapter 4. Disaster. Rise and shine, Papa called. Time to get up. I rolled over and opened one eye. It seemed like only moments ago we'd all been sitting around the fire playing Uno with the deck of cards that Papa had brought. I'd been exhausted when we went to bed, but I hadn't slept well. "It's freezing," I said, not wanting to leave my sleeping bag this morning. "You don't want to miss the sunrise, do you?" Papa asked. I groaned, but I pulled on a sweater and followed Papa through the open flap of the tent. Dr. Worden already had the fire blazing, and a few other of the campers were shuffling around, stretching and yawning. Matthias was in the center of it all, heating water for the cocoa. I grabbed a piece of Bunterbrot and bit into the crust. Eat up, everyone, Papa said. You'll need to be extra sharp today. Dr. Worden and I have a special challenge for you. A race. A race? Lisa asked. What kind of race? Dr. Worden and I have identified 2 routes from the campsite back to our cars. They're the same distance. Your goal is to get to the cars first, but there's a twist. You'll need to gather some flags along the way. Keep an eye out for them. They're in tricky spots. There are enough flags for every person on your team to have one. Dr. Worden will go with one team, and I'll go with the other. Then, as a special treat, we'll have a picnic once we're done. The other campers murmured excitedly. My mouth went dry and my stomach flip-flopped. What if I fall and embarrass myself again? What if I hold the team back and we lose? What if I fall into a cave and I'm never seen again? Actually, falling into a cave might be my best bet. Then I wouldn't have to do the race. Eins. Zwei. Eins. The sound of the other campers calling out numbers interrupted my thoughts. Lisa was standing opposite me, looking at me expectantly. Zwei? I called out, guessing. The counting continued. Are you on my team? I asked her. Of course, silly, she said. Didn't you hear me call a 2? I guess I didn't, I said. Who else is on our team? Dr. Worden, Hannah, Oliver, and Matthias. Of course, I said. Great. Papa, I said as I ran over to him, how come you didn't mention anything about this? I wanted it to be a surprise for you, he said. Dr. Worden and I set up everything a few days ago, and Mama and some friends are setting up the picnic back at the cars. Isn't that great? Yeah, I said. Great. So does Eric really think it's great that his papa surprised him with the race? Why do you guys think so or not? Papa and Dr. Worden weren't kidding. The flags were hidden in tricky spots. Hannah climbed a tree to grab a flag. Lisa found one stuffed in a crack in a huge boulder. I hadn't found any yet, since I was trying to keep my eyes on the trail and avoid anything that could trip me up. Hey, Matthias called. The group paused. Look, Eric, he continued. There's a flag sticking out of the rocks above your head. Slowly, I turned around and looked up. Oh, yeah, I said. Ha ha, I didn't even see it there. Good job, Matthias. Go for it. No way, Matthias said. I'd never have spotted it if you weren't standing right under it. It's all yours. I'll get the next one. Are you sure? I asked. I really don't mind. That's good sportsmanship, Matthias, Dr. Worden said. I'm sure if Eric spots another one, he'll do the same for you, right, Eric? Of course, I said. You bet. Well, I guess I'll just grab that flag. I'll do the same for Matthias, I thought to myself. I put a hand on the rock wall and pulled myself up, but only if the flag was in the middle of a briar patch, or, oh man, I need to pay attention. I looked down. I was only a few meters off the ground, but it felt like 1,000. If you move your leg to the left, to that ledge, you'll probably just be able to reach it, Matthias called up to me. Got it, I muttered. He was right, of course. I moved my left leg, and with a big stretch of my left arm, I was able to knock the flag down to the ground. I scrambled down after it as quickly as I could. Great job, Dr. Worden said as he patted me on the back. Let's keep heading down the trail. We'd only gone a few more meters when I dared to look up from the slick layer of pine needles below my feet. I couldn't believe my luck. Found one! I called out. Perched on a boulder surrounded by mud was another flag. That one's for you, Matthias. Great, I'll grab it, Matthias said as he headed into the mud. Wow, it's a little tough. Can someone pass me a stick so I can knock the flag toward me? Hannah grabbed a long branch from the ground and stood at the edge of the ooze, extending the stick out to Matthias. And then it happened. When Matthias turned to reach the flag, his right leg slipped out from beneath him. His left leg seemed to be stuck in place, cemented in the thick, wet soil. As he fell, I saw Matthias's left leg twist at the knee, and he hit the ground with a thud. From the look on his face, I could tell it wasn't good. How do you think Eric feels when Matthias hurts himself? And how do you know? Chapter 5. What to do. Dr. Worden was in the mud by Matthias' side before I could even blink. Are you okay? He asked. Yeah. Ow! No, my knee, Matthias said through gritted teeth. I twisted it the wrong way. Let's get you out of here first, then we'll take a look, Dr. Worden said. His forehead was creased with worry. Matthias leaned on Dr. Worden and hopped on his good leg as they made their way out of the muck and onto the grass. Matthias, I'm so sorry, I said. I could feel my neck getting hot and beads of sweat forming along the collar of my sweatshirt. How could I have been so stupid? It's not your fault, Matthias said, shrugging his shoulder. I should have been more careful. Leave it to Matthias to be calm and cool about all this. I hadn't even gotten hurt getting my flag, but I had been all worked up about it. Matthias practically breaks his leg, and he's fine with it. Wait, did Matthias break his leg? My brain froze. I couldn't think. Can you bend your knee? Dr. Worden asked. Yeah, I can bend it, Matthias said. But ow! It feels wrong, loose, like it would wobble sideways if I took a step. Maybe I pulled a muscle. From the way you fell and how your leg twisted, I'm guessing you may have done more than just pull a muscle, Dr. Worden said. There are many different parts of your knee. Tendons connect your muscles to your bones. When the muscles in your leg contract or shorten, they help your knee bend. From what you've said, it sounds like you may have injured a ligament. Oh, ligaments connect one bone to another, I said. All eyes turned to me. I tore one of my ligaments once when I was skateboarding, I explained. I know there's a park ranger station to the south, but it's quite far away, Dr. Worden said. I think our best bet is to head towards the cars, and we can get help from there. Let's get you a pain pill, and then we'll work on stabilizing your leg. I know, I said, my brain suddenly snapping to life. Matthias can wear my brace. I pulled up my pant leg to reveal the elastic brace. Is the idea to wear a brace a good one? What do you guys think? And why or why not? That's a nice offer, Dr. Worden said, but there are many kinds of braces. The correct one to wear depends on the type of injury. I think Matthias may have hurt a ligament, but until we know for sure what's wrong, we should give Matthias a brace that won't allow his knee to move. Eric, you're able to wear an elastic brace because your ligament was healed and just needs a bit of support. My face fell. I guess I couldn't help after all. Dr. Worden must have seen my disappointment. We can all help Matthias in another way, Dr. Worden said. All of us have been trained in first aid. We can all help design the brace. Design. The word buzzed through my head. I do have one more tool that might help us, I said. The engineering design process.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.